The winter season has come and gone, a new decade has begun, but I'm still trying to follow that North Star, wishing to catch a pinch of that holiday magic. See, being someone who always dreamed about snuggling up in the log cabin singing songs of Christmas cheer, I'm subtly waiting for that moment where I can find that certain someone that I can bake chocolate chip cookies with and feed each other over an open fire. However, that required me to step out and do something bold, and that is to tell you about my exposure
to the Moan tone.
An unclear, oral response to why I'm still unclear about my state of happiness.
FBI, open up!
So, real talk, I don't think I need to tell you just what moaning actually is. You're either grown enough to understand the meaning, or just came by out of curiosity and concern for my mental health. Like, I don't consider this to be completely safe without context beforehand, so here's the deal. Watch this video all the way through, and then you can rave about your analysis afterwards. That being said, if this video goes smoothly, hopefully I won't get demonetized. Good? Good. So while I was going through grade school, my mom gave me 5 rules to live by since I couldn't trust myself to make rational decisions. They included staying out of trouble, being kind to others, never letting people take advantage of you, knowing when to ask for help, and the most important one of all, keeping my innocence until marriage. I've broken 3 of these rules.
Boy, if you don't
That I know of. These situations just happen to fall conveniently in my lap, and only I can understand my mental process about what's going on. Just know that by the end of this video, you're going to have more questions than I have answers myself. So 14-year-old Kenny D going to private school for the first time was pretty naive when it came to social norms, like sports and fashion, technology, celebrities, video games, etc. And here I am looping Kiss on My List by Hall & Oates for the 18th time. If you were to ask me what my favorite music artist was, you would probably get the most likely response.
I ain't gonna die. R&B is just the only thing that I like.
You know, being sheltered in a Christian home might have just blurred the line in between fighting out stuff for myself and relying on other people's opinions. Especially when it came to starting to catch feelings for girls that are clearly out of my league. Like, we could start with just having some wholesome conversations while watching Stranger Things on Netflix. But if we go as far as cuddling, insert the gong of shame. And that type of ridicule really hurts my pride. Yeah, it didn't make much sense at the time, but I knew back then to never question my parents. That was until this little angel came down and changed my life. This girl was smart, charismatic, interactive, and loved her snacks. Every class I had with her, it wouldn't be long until she started dipping her hands into her bag and started snacking like nobody's business. I'd often overlook this, being that I was raised to live by school policy. Plus, I'm not a snitch. I don't know what consumed me to turn around, but when I did, I saw a few of her friends starting to share some portions in napkins while the teacher's back was turned. Seeing her at the center of attention caused my body to move out of the zone and ask if I could have some. Besides, it was worth the risk to hold me over until lunch. So what would be the harm in wanting to follow the crowd just for a chance to talk with her? Just once. Could an introverted guy like me step up to the challenge? When it comes to nacho cheese Doritos, it was worth it. I ended up introducing myself to her, and from then on I had a new person I could call a friend. Each interaction after that made my belief in our friendship towards her a bit stronger each day. After some time, I started passing morning greetings to her just to be neighborly, even giving her compliments just to keep the conversation going. It wasn't long until the rest of my classmates caught on and wanted to help me out. I wasn't sure if this was meant to be, but those emotions back then felt real to me. Sadly though, this wasn't a Hallmark holiday movie where fates worked in your favor. But before I dive into this well of embarrassment, let me introduce you to the 5 love languages, these being words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Affirmation being emotional support, acts of service to do for others as you would do for yourself, gifts being one of sentimental value to both people, quality time to get familiar with the other's company, and physical touch with a wholesome hug and a kiss on the hand. Essentially, this is where development of the Moan tone theory comes in. Referring to the 5 love languages, every human has a need to feel loved. The sweeter the notion presented, the greater impact it will have on your performance. If it's not found in one place, we'll meander to another source where it does exist. It starts out, more often than not, with us expecting to be finding something unique to separate from our mistakes. If a person were to attain that awareness to pleasing a person's particular love language, it climaxes in an envious moan that boosts our self-esteem, making them want to stick around longer for the ride. Think of each language as a delicacy you serve in portions. Put in too much of one thing, and the whole course ends up turning sour. Seeing that I wasn't well versed in how to express myself to impress, I had to go along with my own advances, spoonfuls at a time. I had to be sure that my hyperactiveness didn't distract me from my end goal, asking her out. Fighting for that moment where I can seal the deal and take it to the next level. But little did I know that that moment would never come. When it came time to admit my feelings to the angel, I had already given myself the impression that I was setting myself up for the now. I gave her a folded piece of paper admitting my feelings in detail, and I passed it back to her in class. She glanced at it, and then back to me, and then back to the note that I gave her. With bated breath, I held onto the little pride that I had and shook in anticipation as she took her pencil and began writing a response. 3 minutes went by before a piece of paper was handed back to me by another friend of mine called Gabe. And when I opened it, my heart could hardly take it. She told me it was a kind gesture, but she had already found someone that was after her heart. That rejection stuck with me up until I was picked up to go home that day. I thought back on what my parents had told me about how finding a girlfriend that early in life wasn't worth the emotional toil. From that day, I ingrained it into myself that it wasn't worth competing when I couldn't give them what they truly needed. Time, gifts, touch. These boundaries seemed stupid to me, and I wanted to break out of that. My first rejection failed the isolation that grew inside of me. Somehow, that didn't stop me at all. Instead, I acted like nothing had happened and continued to press on, since there was nowhere to go but up. You know, I like being single, but I don't see anything wrong with getting familiar with those of the opposite sex. If it goes somewhere, then you got to set those boundaries for yourself so you don't accidentally go all in. I assure you, there's nothing suspicious going on. Suggestive? Yes. Confusing? Absolutely. Am I in my feelings? Yeah, I am. At the end of the day, take accountability for your actions and maybe you'll feel a little better about yourself. Someday soon I hope to revisit this concept, because this was only the beginning.